We need to talk about, Trump, Ukraine, Russia, America, Europe. What is going on now? So Europeans' weak and woke leaders and Canada's dreadfully woke Justin Trudeau all gathered in Kyiv today, 3 years after Russia first invaded Ukraine, demanding to be a part of the peace process, demanding, that Zelensky is a part of the process. Now, I definitely believe Zelensky's going to have to be in there. Russia and America can't forge a peace deal unless he agrees with it. But as for these idiots from the EU, bunch of sclerotic old gits, most of whom are on the way out anyway, who've run their countries into the ground and who do nothing but squabble, I'm glad they're not at the peace process table. But what do you reckon's going on then, Russell?
Well, I'm not sure really. I'm just I don't think anybody
That's why
is.
I asked you. I didn't know where to go.
But I want to talk about the whole Macron thing. So Macron has met Trump this afternoon. So there's already pictures out there of a few minutes ago. They're in the White House. They're almost holding hands, which Trump seems to like to do now. But what is the point of Macron meeting Trump? I mean, Macron is on the way out. He's largely been defeated in elections recently. The public in France have turned against him. So he's got no kind of mandate, really, no power. I mean, obviously he's got in first, which says a lot about our kind of our Starmer's helpers, assistants, advisors or whatever in terms of their influence, being able to get Starmer in front of Trump first, which obviously would have been a bit of a press coup. But what is the point? I mean, Trump already knows what he's going to do. He and JD Vance have already slated Europe left, right and centre in public to say exactly what they think about them in terms of their capability, in terms of their approach to free speech and so on. So I think Trump's just trolling these European leaders. The only ones he probably likes are Viktor Orban and Giorgia Meloni, obviously those on the right in Europe. They're the ones that he will actually deal with, interact with and make deals with. But to be honest, I suspect he's just getting the laughter over with first, which is why he saw Macron first, Starmer second, because he'll see these individuals as completely insignificant in this process. And
here's the interesting nuance here. More than nuance, it's the factor around which all of this swivels. It is this. Trump is demanding from Ukraine through a massive amount, maybe a $200 billion deal, to share its rare earth minerals. It's got a lot of very valuable minerals that they mine for in Ukraine, as well as a lot of oil as well, by the way. He wants a 50% deal in their rare earth minerals in order to pay back some of the $350 billion that America has sent to Kyiv, to Ukraine, since the war began 3 years ago. Now, it looks as if
there's a problem there.
Zelensky's going to go along with it by the looks.
No, but the problem, I heard Zelensky this morning saying, hang on a sec, this was a gift. This was a grant, is what Zelensky said in a press conference this morning. He doesn't recognise it as a loan. As far as Zelensky seems to be concerned, that money was given to him and the Ukrainians.
Good luck with that, Vladimir.
So I don't know what the paperwork says.
I presume, with that, Vladimir. See where it gets you.
I presume there's a signed napkin or something somewhere that says, I owe you $350 billion. So Trump wants the money back, and hence he's making a move on the minerals. And Zelensky's saying, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. And also says he hasn't received most of it.
Yeah, but then again, the narrative over the weekend, ever since about last Thursday, was that Ukraine and America were edging towards a deal here. I do think Zelensky probably realises he's got to do something. Now, the plus side of this would be, and this is what this is what the Americans are suggesting to Mr. Zelensky and his people, you give us a half share in your rare earth minerals, that will give us cause to defend your rare earth minerals.
Comes down to money again,
so
doesn't it? You
give us $200 billion and we'll think about helping you out.
And the cynics listening to this can be forgiven for thinking, well, that's really what the whole Middle East thing has been about over the last 30 years, because what's the Middle East full of? Oil.
Yeah.
So this isn't about politics or humanitarian intervention.
So Ukraine's got a lot of oil as well, don't forget that.
Always about the money. isn't it?
Well, it is on Planet Trump.
Well, it is.
I mean,
but
he has this ability.
I think it is with most of them, really.
Yeah, but he has a peculiar ability to reduce every international issue to a real estate deal.
Yeah.
You know, I can solve the Middle East.
I love that.
Build a load of hotels.
Yeah. So here's the question we should be asking, and I know we have, but the world should be asking is, hang on a sec, in all of this, you know, whether there's going to be a peace deal, whether part of Ukraine is annexed or not, the real question is the very obvious thing, which is the United States say they sent $300 billion. Zelensky says he's only received $100 billion. So the big question for me is, where is the rest of the money?
Well, that's what America is saying.
I mean, any audit? I mean, what about the money we've sent? Whatever that is, I don't know, 9, 10 billion, whatever it is.
4 billion.
4 billion, okay. Yeah. So I have said on this channel in the past, shouldn't there be an audit trail? Shouldn't we as the public be able to see where the money went and where it got spent? I mean, yeah, we can laugh, but again, we talk about the BBC, that was only 400 grand. We sent £4 billion to Zelensky, and for all we know, it might be in Mayfair property and Lamborghinis. We don't know.
But you know, the other interesting aspect of this, and by the way, Zelensky, you know, selflessly has vowed to quit as president if that helps to bring peace and leads to Ukraine being allowed to join NATO. Good luck with that. That's not happening. Ukraine will not be allowed into
Third
NATO.
World War.
It's just not. It will not happen. So that he can forget about. If him quitting leads to peace, I'm sure he would. But I don't think he's the important factor here. I think it's just how if Russia, Zelensky, and by extension Europe don't go along with nearly everything that Donald Trump wants, they're going to have to get used to fighting this war without America. We'll have to pay for it ourselves. And that is what made me, you're right, and I was wrong, 13 billion has been sent to, actually we were both underestimated, 13 billion has been sent to Ukraine by the UK. It's 4 billion, I think, last year. That's where I got my wires crossed. 4 billion last year, 13 billion altogether, and I think a lot of people are sick and tired of sending them all that money.
Well, particularly pensioners that can't heat their houses this week.
Yeah, and we get lectured about, you don't understand the geopolitics of it. Yeah, I'm a citizen of this country. Thank you for telling me that my opinion doesn't matter at all because I'm stupid. Well, I'm not as clever as you in your geopolitical world. Well, that kind of attitude ain't washing, and Donald Trump is in town now.
Well, and the notion that, you know, if Russia were to take over the whole of Ukraine, that next would be Poland, next would be Germany, next would be Britain, and Russia's just going to keep invading other countries. I mean, that's preposterous. That's ridiculous because we're part of NATO, actually. So, you know, the fact that we're doing all of this to shore up a country that is under attack, and I understand the humanitarian need, but the fact there seems to be a blank check, Kev, this seems to be completely and utterly open-ended with no audit trail, no scrutiny. Again, I use the same word that I use for the BBC. No scrutiny, you know, no transparency. I think as taxpayers we deserve better.
Totally agree. And ironically, you know, in a panic, European leaders are finally getting real and talking about increasing their defence budgets. Not because... now, Donald Trump, in his last presidency, said, come on, guys, you've got to start paying your fair share, the share we agreed, and not welshing on the deal.
Yeah.
He said that throughout his last presidency, and every leader around the world said he's got a damn point. He's come back to power because, of course, weak, useless Joe Biden let that ball completely slip and slide. He's come back in and said, start paying. Now, the European leaders, when he says start paying your fair share, they don't care. Suddenly, now, they are looking at the prospect of having to defend their own countries without America. They're going, oh my God, we better increase our defence budgets. In other words, they just have been addicted to the teat of America, and now it may be removed. They're finally getting real about defence budgets. But listen to this. Starmer's going to Washington to be the bridge.
It's going to be hilarious. I think it's going to be really funny.
If he's so important to Trump, how come he's second and France was first?
Yeah.
And the other thing is this. You know, Trump's saying you've got to spend 5% of your GDP on defence.
So more than double what we already spent.
Yeah. Well, we spent 2.3%.
Yep.
By the way, America only spends 3.38, so they've got some way to go themselves. But 2.3% is better than some. It's better than France and Germany, but it's not very good. And so rather than saying, well, Donald, do you want us to pay 5%? Let's talk. What has Starmer announced? We're going to put in place a roadmap that may allow us to increase our defence spending to 2.5% by 0.2% a roadmap. Why do we need a roadmap?
And you know,
why does he think that saying, Donald, great news, I'm going to pay half of what you want us to pay? Why does he think that Trump's going to go, oh, that's brilliant?
Well, worse than that, not only is it half, but Lammy said the same thing, actually, when he was, I think, in Munich a couple of weeks ago, that they are going to aspire to spend 2.5% by 2030.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's a roadmap.
It's aspire. It's not actually doing it rather than doing it now. But also in 2030, he knows he'll no longer be. The Labour Party will hopefully no longer be in government. He certainly won't be Prime Minister. So it's just an empty promise. Trump's not stupid.
That's what I mean. They've been talking about putting a roadmap in place to potentially increase our defence spending from 2.3 to 2.5%. Trump wants 5%. A, why do we need a roadmap? And B, why does Starmer, and for that matter Lammy, why do they remotely think that a 0.2% increase on our already deficient spending is going to keep Donald Trump happy? It's going to make him furious.
You either commit to it or you don't. Obviously, look, as ever with Labour, they're obfuscating. Can I just suggest, though, actually, if we do want to double our defence spending in the light of the fact that we've got, China and Russia nibbling at our heels in every respect, militarily, cyber attacks, goodness knows what else. If we were just to not spend money on net zero and carbon capture projects and so on, we could not only increase our defence spending to 5% of GDP, we might be able to warm up a few pensioners this winter too.
Yeah, 1.4 billion we saved on that. We just heard 13 billion sent to the Ukraine by the UK, 4 billion in the past year. Not to mention the 11.6 billion pounds we send abroad every year, plus the special 11.6 billion we're going to send abroad extra this year for green projects in developing companies, plus the 22 billion we're going to spend on some old carbon capture trap that doesn't work in Liverpool. All this money, Ed Miliband's net zero lunacy, literally almost, well, not literally, but basically pumping money straight into the sea.
Well, if we got rid of Ed Miliband, I mean, politically only, of course, is what I mean. If we got rid of Ed Miliband, it would solve the world's problems, I think.
Well, it certainly solve ours, or certainly go some way to solve it.
It'd give us nothing to talk about.
But all this money that the Labour government are wasting abroad on mad net zero projects, while telling us, yes, I'm sorry, we have to freeze the pensioners this winter. No, you didn't. You never needed to do this. And we know this. We can see this from your other mad spending. Kemi Badenoch saying, stop all the net zero stuff and invest it in defence spending. I mean, given the pressing position we find ourselves in, the crisis the world finds itself in, this nation, Britain, we're going to have to defend ourselves, probably without the help of America. No more roadmaps, no more 0.2% increases. We're going to have to get serious about this.